This is a Comet First Use Guide VBook. Example 2 is a spreadsheet example. Problem is, the spreadsheet, we're going to have output equals 2 times input. So input a number, output a number. Here are the cases involved. The architecture for this example, we have a direct user using a user-written simulation, which we're going to write. And we will be using an Excel adapter supplied by Comet and Microsoft Excel. Let's start by creating a spreadsheet. The way we do that, we just do a simple right mouse, new spreadsheet, new Microsoft Excel worksheet, and let's name that worksheet out 2x in. We're going to now define some values in that spreadsheet. Open that spreadsheet, and we're going to make A1 input, and B1 we'll make 10 for now. A2 we're going to make output, and B2 we're going to make 2 times B1. Now we're going to save that and exit. Okay, so we have our spreadsheet defined. Now let's go to work on initial setup. I want to create a new stage from the root. Right mouse, new stage. We're going to call this stage example 2. And we're going to go to our process panel, and we're going to double click on process 1 to rename it. And we're going to call it O2XI spreadsheet. Okay. Now we're going to create our process input. We're going to go to the process dashboard and unlock it. And we're going to now define an input variable. We're going to call it example 2. And we're going to make that our input variable. And we're going to give that value a number. We're going to give that, we'll call that 100. Now we will create the process output by going to the metric panel and entering example 2 output. We got that out there. Now we need to set up the input port by doing a right mouse, display schematic, and then a right mouse, new input, process input port. And we're going to double click on that and rename it to E2 PIN. And next we're going to connect that to the dashboard by doing a drag and drop of the example 2 input to the input port. Next we will set up the output port by doing a right mouse, new process output port. And we're going to rename that to E2POUT. Now we're going to connect that to the process output by double-clicking on the 0 in the example 2 output, and then click on the expander. We'll delete the 0 in the expander box. And now we're going to drag and drop from the process hierarchy. We're going to drag and drop E2P out to the expression box. And then double-click contained entity. And there you go. And do an OK. Do a right mouse run to prove that things are set up correctly, or at least we don't have any errors at this point. Right mouse run, and we see we have no errors detected, and we'll do a file save. So we've completed our initial setup. Now we're going to create our Excel task. The way we do that is go to the process schematic and right mouse new Excel task. Right mouse new Excel task. And let's move that over to between the input and the output, since that's where we're going to want it. We'll spread these out a little bit. Next, we're going to, in the process hierarchy, we're going to change the name of this from Excel to ET out to XN. Now we're going to import our spreadsheet. Do a file, or from the menu, do an import. Excel spreadsheet, Excel file, and the Excel file that we use was on our desktop, and there's O2XIN, double click that. We've got that attached. Next we'll turn on the miscellaneous data tab by going to the view menu and turn on the miscellaneous tab. See, we have this out here. Now from the miscellaneous tab we're going to drag and drop the spreadsheet to the Excel task. And note that we have that now shown in the spreadsheet file. We're going to do our wrap-up steps again. Right mouse, run. Again, we get no errors. And we'll do a file save. Okay, we now have created our Excel task. Now, just because we have the task, we still have to connect the things together. In order to do that, we need to go to the Excel task and do a right mouse new input datum. And we're going to call that datum, that's a task input variable accessor task input variable accessor, finish. Now we're going to the process hierarchy, and notice that the task is expanded and we have this icon change. We're going to rename the input variable here by double clicking that. I'm going to rename that to ETIN. Now we need to create an input range specification, which actually is going to tie our spreadsheet in here ultimately. To do that, we do a right mouse on the Excel task, new input range specification, new input range specification. And this is going to be a expression input specification. Expression input specification. Finish that. We need to rename that input range. Down here in the editor panel, I'm going to double click the name and we're going to rename that to ETIN range. Now we will specify the input range by going to the editor panel and double clicking the 0. And this opens our expression editor. We'll click on the expression expander, delete the 0 that's there. Delete that. Now we're going to, from the process hierarchy, drag and drop ETIN to the contained entity window, to the editor window, and double click contain entity, and OK. Next we're going to specify the cell that we're going to be using by opening the start cell and then go to the cell ID, but we need to look at the spreadsheet and see what cell ID we need there. Go to our spreadsheet, and the input variable is B1, so that's what we're going to enter there. So we go to the cell ID and change the cell to B1. Okay, so we have defined the input. Next we're going to connect the process input to the task input. The way we do that is on the process hierarchy, we drag and drop from the input port to the input section of the Excel task, and then we drag and drop the process in to ETIN. And there we have our input defined. I'm going to do some wrap up here by doing we're going to close our editor panel. And there's a couple editor panels open. We'll close all those. And now we'll do a right mouse run. And again, we have no errors encountered in that process. We'll do File, Save. This completes our setup, or connecting the process in to the task in. Now we're going to define the Excel task output. The way we do that is we right mouse on the Excel task and do a new output request. And the type of output request is single valued, and finish. Now in the editor panel, we're going to double click on the output request name, and we're going to rename that to ET out or EQ. Now we're going to specify the cell by in the editor panel we're going to click on the plus sign and then the start cell plus sign. Say it's A1. And we're going to look at our spreadsheet and see what that needs to be. So we're looking at the output, so that's supposed to be now B2, it looks like. So we'll go back to our editor window and make that B2. Okay. Next, we need to create an output datum. Again, we go back to our our Excel task. Do a right mouse, new, output datum. And the type needs to be output data accessor. We'll do a finish. In the process hierarchy, we're going to rename our output specification. Our output data. We'll rename that to ET. And we're going to specify the output to be used. In order to do this, we need to put a dot, just put a dot in the selecting the output. And we're now going to do our wrap-up steps by closing our editor window, or windows in this case. And we'll do a right mouse, run. No errors, and we'll do a file save. That completes the definition of the Excel output. Now we need to connect the task output to the process output. In order to do that, go to the process schematic and we drag and drop from the Excel task to our output port, like that. And we drag and drop in our editor panel. And there you go. Now ready to do our wrap-up. At this point, we're going to close our editor panel, and we're going to do a right mouse run. Looks like that's working. We're going to do a file, save. So we've got our task out connected to process out. We're now ready to do a test run. The way we do this is go to the process dashboard and make our example 2 input 10. And we'll do a process schematic run. And we'll see what happens in the output. Hopefully, and it is. The output is 20, 2 times the input. And we can iterate there if we want, but we're satisfied that that's working. So now we're ready to run our cases. We're going to do this 3 times, once for each case. We're going to right mouse, go back to our project tab, and then right mouse on example 2, new stage, call it case 1. In our dashboard, we're going to double click the input variable. We'll make that value 100. For case 1, right mouse run. Go back to example 2, right mouse, new stage, case 2. Input variable, 200 for case 2, right mouse run, and our output for input is 200 is 400. Repeating for case 3, new stage, case 3. Input variable 300, right mouse run, and output is 600. So we run our cases. Now let's look at the results. Go to example 2, case 1. Move to stage, and the input for case 1 is 100, output is 200, looks good. Right mouse on case, move to stage in case 2. Input is 200, output is 400. Right mouse, move to 3. Input is 300, output is 600. So we've run our examples, looked at the results, we're ready to wrap up. We're going to do a file, save, file, exit, and we're going to restart Comet by double-clicking in the project file. And when Comet comes up, we'll note the our current state of things. Example 2 stages are shown, the current state is root, and so forth. So there's Comet. And there we are. So we have completed example 2. The home page for Comet First Use Guide is legumetech.com/LGS/CMTFUG.